met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain in the desert.
All right, welcome to the first edition of, well, the show with no name. I'm Renee Gartner. I'm joined by Darcy Lussick. We couldn't come up with a name for this one, but it kind of makes sense because it's going to be loose.
Maybe next week.
Just
another week to think of it.
Well, there's a song and it's called The Horse with No Name, and he rides through the desert with it and never names it. So I feel like we could probably get through this whole season with nothing.
Sure.
Especially with your contribution. Flying! Excellent. No, what we're going to do is cover off mostly rugby league. That's where our background is. But you're into your boxing, so am I. We both don't mind the races as well. But just trying to get some interesting characters on here. You obviously were the only person I could get here this week.
You must be struggling.
Already off to a flying start. I was like, interesting. I was like, how about just character? Yeah. And I'll make you my co-host. Let's kick off where you are at the moment, because a lot of people know that you're a former football legend, and then you moved into boxing as well too. What are you doing now? Are you still boxing?
I'm not boxing. No way. No, I'm not boxing. I am in the real world now, unfortunately. Yeah, so I finished footy, and then you could say I won the lotto. It's the Paul Gallen lotto.
Right.
So I had that fight, and left that, and now I'm in the real world. So I'm in private security.
Yep.
So I'm trying to get into that, but I've been sort of just trying everything since I finished. They say that when you're playing, you don't think it's ever going to end, but it ends like that.
Yeah.
So, but no, everything's all good.
To go from that transition from rugby league, though, into boxing, we're seeing it a lot in sport at the moment, and obviously the critics are like, another footballer going into it. But your background, your old man has been a brilliant trainer in the Northern Beaches for a really long time. Is that how you stepped into it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I had that first fight against Hodges. I played with George through No Limit, so there's always talk about it. And I actually got probably 8 weeks to prepare for that first fight, which was good. Enjoyed it. Won. Thought, how easy is this?
Moments
yeah,
later.
and I was like, and then next minute, I'm on the floor. Cheers, gal. But the experience, like you'd know, there's no high like it.
Yeah.
You try and chase that same high, it's just nothing like it. But such a good experience. But no more for me.
You're like, done.
And done. So,
Don't call me George Rose. Was it hard going from being in such a team sport to an individual? Because that's another thing. Like you're so used to having 13 plus of your mates every single day with you. Boxing's very lonely. Yeah.
When you get a knock on the change room door saying it's time to go, you're like, oh shit, it's only me. You know what I mean? So, it's a very, very hard, demanding sport that you need full commitment to. So I experienced it, had fun, but no more.
Boxing, private security. I thought you were still boxing because your partner actually puts videos up and the only ones you share are the ones of yourself. And it was like you just standing there in a towel, like just flexing up like a cobra. This big traps just looking like meerkats over the top. And I was like, maybe you're still fighting.
Nah, look, it's all weights, no cardio now. So, like, I couldn't run 20 metres now, but I still enjoy training. Like, when you finish footy, I found when I fell out of routine, my life was a disaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I stay in a routine now. I'm up every morning walking the dogs, go to the gym. I'm still probably a disaster according to my girlfriend, but I still enjoy the training, but I just don't enjoy cardio anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or getting punched in the head, or tackled, or running at people,
or any sort of contact.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're private security from like a meter or half away.
yeah. I'm just hopefully I don't have to do anything, but no, it's there's sort of like I've sort of been in and out of security my whole life. My dad's been in it. So I'm sort of trying to get into the private security now. Not working at pubs or anything like that, just trying to look after maybe families and, individuals probably have high net worth.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm aiming for.
So you can say
not
$1
me.
million.
Not me.
You're back to like high gal.
Yeah.
Need some security. What about something like footy-wise? You've had some epic coaches in your time, and not to make it sound like you club jumped or anything like that, but it was more that coaches sort of changed a couple of times at the clubs.
Yeah.
Talk me through some of your characters.
Well, when I first came in, even when I left school straight into full-time, I had Des Hasler.
Yeah.
So that was probably the best coach to have straight up because he was intense, like fully intense, but he was such a good coach. I remember a time I went to the same school as his son, a boarding school, and we lived around the corner from each other. So my dad obviously knew Des, and one Saturday I had Des come to pick us up, me and his son. Anyways, we're driving home, and Des is trying to be nice, and he's listening to the radio. He's obviously the Manly coach at the time, but I think it was probably 2006. And he was listening to it, and he would turn it up, like when you hear something, and turn it down. And I got out of the car and I said to my mum, he's such a nice, gentle guy, you know? And then
moments later.
Yeah, like a couple of months later, they asked me to go and train a day full-time at Manly. And I got in there like halfway through the day. I must have been there, had a field session, and he come charging into this team room and was going berserk. Like, I mean, full on psycho. And I was shocked. And I remember I went home to my mom. I said, I don't want to go back there. He is a psychopath. But
psychopath in what way? When you say he came in, was he just screaming?
No, just
intense. There a bad game?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was just a training session, but he demanded. The best thing about Des, he demanded so much from you, but he was such a good man manager.
Yeah, okay.
You know, the boys loved playing for him. They knew, what he was about. He would be there hours before everyone, hours after everyone. He'd be so thorough. But he's such a good man manager, and he always had everyone's back.
Yeah.
Like the boys would always play pranks on him, the Stewarts and stuff. I never played pranks on him because I was shit scared of him. But he was great at the start of my career. I really enjoyed playing under him. I had Ricky Stewart.
Yeah.
Also intense. I love playing under Ricky. I only had 1 year under Ricky, but he was good.
And where levels of intenseness, where were they different?
Well, Ricky, if you turn up to training and had a dig, turn up to the game, had a dig, he'll be happy, then you go for a beer. So that's what he's about. He had the runs on the board, so he was a good man manager as well, and he would challenge you to get the best out of you.
Yeah.
The first preseason that I had with him, he challenged me, and I thought that he hated me, but I knew that he was. I didn't know at the time, but he was just trying to get the best out of me, and then we had a great relationship. So. I can tell now, like round one when sort of everyone wrote them off, and then he loves that us against them mentality.
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed playing under him.
Do you think that's why the English guys work so well coming and training under him in Canberra? Because they're very set in our mentality as well too.
Yeah.
Hard work, have a beer, sort of thing. I mean, I know that's still quite old school.
Yeah.
But it's still Ricky.
Yeah, like he rewards you if you sort of rip in and stuff like that. Well, he loves getting everyone together for a beer.
Yeah.
And then people respond well to that. You know what I mean? So it's not like that dictator. This is how it is. This is how it is. Train, go home, go to sleep. You can still enjoy yourself. And but yeah, he's probably the coach in the NRL who's had the most success with English imports.
Yeah.
Plus Canberra, it's freezing cold. It's like the UK, isn't it? So
like Toronto.
Let's not talk about Toronto. Should we talk about Toronto?
If you want to know a little bit about Toronto, go and check out The Scrum, which is another one of our podcasts that we have on here, and the boys dig right into it. You love Toronto. You also love them. What, am I making you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. Can we talk about something else?
No, I'm talking about coaches. So you're actually not even talking about yourself.
Yeah.
You're talking about your coaches. All right, who else did you have?
I had Tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Tubes. Passionate, good coach, good man manager. I had Brad Arthur over at Para.
Do you reckon we'll see Tubes back in first grade coaching again?
To be honest, I'm surprised he's never been back. Like he's a good coach.
He's back in the Manly fold at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's in the juniors there. I'm really surprised that no one snapped him up. But yeah, he was like, I think in 2013 they made the grand final. 2014 they went to a major semi, and then he got let go. But Yeah, he's. I guess clubs probably looked at if you've been out of the game for a while. They probably don't want to give you a chance, but I really like Twos. I was really, really surprised that he didn't get another gig.
I think the games are giving coaches a chance. I mean, you look at Flano. He was just Manly's like the breeding ground for assistant coaches that go elsewhere. But I mean, he's just been given a second chance, and he's down there, first run on the board with the Dragons as well. Not too bad. So he's a chance.
Yeah. I hope so. But yeah.
What about Brad Arthur? He seems, again, intense. It seems like you're a magnet to intense coaches.
Yeah, I know.
Do you leave not long after they do?
Usually, because they're like, why is he speaking on his head? He's too fucking relaxed. But I had Brad in his first year in 2014, and he was very thorough. He's married to the game.
Yeah.
It's well documented. His wife says it all the time. But like our physio at the time, I'd be in there getting treatment and Brad would be running. He'd run at 4:30 in the morning or something with his headphones in, and that's when he would make his phone calls. So he'd be running around Para Park, making his phone calls, just running out of breath. But he's intense, very thorough, but he's a good man manager.
Yeah.
The boys love playing for him, and he absolutely loves Para. So you hear stories, when they go good, and then when they sort of dip and form a little bit, is he under pressure? But like, he's Parramatta through and through. So and all the boys love him. So I think he should be there for a while.
You speak about like some of the most intense coaches in the game during that period. We now look at one at the moment who's in the spotlight, and Benji Marshall's about to. I mean, I know he obviously sort of took the reins a little bit from Sheensy last year, but now this week, first go up against Ricky Stewart, someone who's quite serious, man manager, married to the game, all of the above. We've got Benji still on Instagram, still selling couches and beds and anything he can on his gram. He's kind of like this new age. There's a bit of flack that, he turns up, like he's not there at 5 a.m. every morning. Yeah. He turns up when he does and makes the effort, sort of thing. What's your take on that?
Well, I think he's ridden that wave through his whole career. You know what I mean? Like, he was at the highest, and then he's probably when they won the grand final, and he was there sort of during the tough years, so he's used to it. Yeah. He obviously fully backs his ability, but I guess everyone's going to judge off their performances. So I've heard good things about Benji. I hope he goes well, but I wonder how long until maybe his comments are disabled on his Instagram or something like that. You know what I mean? But I feel like he's ridden that wave, so he's used to it. Because
he was sort of, when he came through the playing ranks, I actually we were opposing schools on the Gold Coast, but grew up with Benji and known him for a long time. He's always been that player that just didn't really care, about the opinions of other people, weren't his business kind of thing. And I feel like he's going to sort of take that into his coaching realm where it's, everyone thinks I'm young and I'm not doing the 9 to 5, but why does it need to be like that? Yeah. If he played like that, we wouldn't have seen his goose steps and the ball, like electric ball play.
That's what I was about to say. He sort of, when he came in, he played the way he wanted to play. Yeah. He didn't play under any, I'm sure Tim Sheens wasn't telling him to go out there and do the goose steps and the flick passes and everything. But
I think he said the complete
opposite. Exactly. So, and then, everyone remembers that flick pass in the grand final. But so I think he fully, he's so confident, backs his ability. Yeah. And, he's been there, done that. He's a West Tigers legend. So I think that if anyone's going to get the best out of that playing group, it's going to be Benji.
Are you excited to see a different mould of coach coming into the game? I kind of am.
Yeah. But I just, look, every coach that I've come across, they're in there early, late, married to the game. And I always think, I would hate that job. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like looking after 30 footballers, imagine that job.
Children.
Children, unstable, most unstable footballers. Imagine trying to man manage them, get them to stick to a game plan. Yeah. It'll be hard, you know what I mean? I think the main thing about being a coach, the best coaches I come across are good man managers. Yeah. Because everyone's different. You have different cultures, nationalities, people have different stuff going on outside of footy. So I think if you're a good man manager and honest, the best coaches are honest. You'd rather, if they're trying to get rid of you, a coach come up and say, listen, this is the way it is, or something, instead of sort of hiding behind the player managers. That's what I think. But, I wish him all the best.
Are there any coaches you've had that have hidden behind player managers?
No.
He's like, I'm on the record. No.
Have a drink.
Well, you've seen like great coaches and then great player managers. You've got Craig Bellamy and then Frank Panisi. Their partnership's been electric.
Yeah.
And Frank was obviously at Manly before Storm as well. We're going to see his partnership come into the New South Wales side as well too. So there can be a mix where both work succinctly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's and then also I think it's a little bit murky when the coaches are with have the same playing managers. I don't know if that really works. Because you hear stories of managers getting players to teams and stuff like that. But look, when it's going good for you in rugby league, it's good. And then when you're on the outer, it's
then you're looking for your boxing fights.
Yeah, you're begging Paul Gallen for a fight.
Would you do it again if you had the opportunity? Would you do it? Like, as in, if you had your time over?
What's that?
So if you went back fresh, you haven't fought Gal.
Yeah.
And knowing what you do now and how he fights, would you still have that fight?
Well, yeah. Like, they called me up. I had 3 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
So, if I got paid the same, I'd get in there in a week.
So.
But
1 week?
No, not a week. No, it's way too dangerous. I was hanging on for dear life towards the end. Like, I'm not going to lie. I remember I sort of, your song plays. It's like your song plays. You walk in, everyone's going crazy. You go, oh, how good's this? You know what I mean? This is fucking mad. Like, you get the big high. And I remember standing in the ring. And then they announced Gal to come in, and I don't even know if he walked in any music. I think he might have just been like silent, and he was just like storming to the ring, and I just went, "Oh fuck!" Like what? And then there's like cameras. I was like, "Oh, this is on fucking TV." And I was like, "Oh my god!" But I'm just gonna try my best here. But he was good. Like, he was respectful for like the whole way, and all the fighters like. I think Harry Garside, Sid Goodman and stuff were on the card. Like, actual professional good boxers that dedicated their whole life. And then, I blew in sort of at the end, but they were so nice, and I still sort of speak to them sometimes, and it's just a crazy experience. But I'm happy just to let it all go now.
I won't keep pushing you.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm medically retired, so I can't do it anymore. Yeah. All right, we'll round up the show with No Name with just our 3 big games, because they're obviously covering it on the Scrum on one of our podcasts as well too, with Big Les and Mace and of course yourself. But 3 big games that you're looking forward to watching this weekend.
The Thursday night game, Brisbane versus South. I thought they were both pretty disappointing, especially after the hype of Brisbane after their last season. South, they're always expected to be up there, but I thought that they were pretty disappointing as well. They probably should have, when they're up by 8 points, they probably should have put me in their way. But so I think we're going to find out what they're really like at the start of the year on Thursday.
Because it is hard. But round 1 is the murky, where everyone sort of had the conversation going, I've had the best preseason ever. I've trained my ass off. I've done whatever. And the club's feeling good. And then all of a sudden round 1, you're like, you're either stealing all the oxygen out of the air or it's just not gelling quite yet. Yeah,
like round 1, like it comes around and like in the first 5 minutes you're gone. You think, what have I done all preseason? You know what I mean? And especially, the boys over there in Vegas, would have taken it out of them. So I think we're going to get the true test this week.
Yeah. Well, you've got Latrell. He started All-Stars at the start of the year. He's dropped weight. He's looking super fit. I've never seen the bloke look so happy and just so keen to be involved. Everything. Happy player is a dangerous player.
Yeah, especially with him. I feel like when he's happy, he's unbelievable. Yeah, I feel like he needs Cody to help him in Ilias. Yeah, to help him when those 3 are on. They're hard to stop.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I felt like, and this is absolutely no disrespect to Cody, not having Cody in All-Stars changed Latrell and made him stand up a little bit more, and more of he's always been a leader, and he's really quite vocal and great in that capacity, but I felt like that changed his game a bit more. But I think in clubland, you've got like amazing players around you too. I just don't think they were all on that same song sheet.
Well, they probably see like, they're probably two leaders there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the team, there's always one sort of real dominant leader, and they're probably the two dominant leaders, and they're probably the biggest voice within the team. So, they need to work together. I'm not saying they don't work together, but they need to be on every game, dragging their teammates with them to get the win.
Who have you got in that one? Do you think, Adam Reynolds up against his former club, I feel like he loves that. That's just like blood in the water.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are going to win, especially up there. So, but I'm probably wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I think the Broncos is probably a flip of the coin.
Yeah, okay. All right. You put in your top 8, it was Wars, Broncos and Eels. That's your top 3. So many questions. Eels, I'm going to have to say if that was in your top 3 alone, the Eels-Penrith game has got to be your next one.
Yep.
Battle of the West.
Battle of the West is always a big one. Battle of the West, they're back at Penrith Friday night.
Sellout too.
Sellout.
Yeah.
Penrith lost the World Cup Challenge and round 1. So there's a bit of a hangover from the premiership. But they'll be back. They have a real point to prove. And I thought Para were really good last week.
Yeah.
Really good. I thought their forwards were outstanding. The 2 front rowers got them going forward. Bryce Cartwright, really good. Moses, there's an injury cloud over him. Groin. So, I don't know if you want to be, I don't think they're going to play him if there was a risk of him doing long-term damage so early on in the season. But, it's really interesting. I think the question marks over Para last year, they said they had to come out this year and start fast. And, with the team they have, you expect them to be, top 4 for sure. And what better way to challenge themselves than Penrith on a Friday night.
Well, you've got your brother in that side. Do you get any intel in terms of what it's like and the dynamic it's like?
No, he doesn't. We live together in the UK. He hasn't talked to me since he moved out.
What did you do?
Yeah. Well, so
story time.
No, it wasn't any bad. It was I wasn't playing for a year during COVID because our club,
so you just went to 101 Pest.
So and then he was playing, what I mean? And every couple of weeks my dad would call me and say, fuck, would you just calm down? Your brother's fucking playing footy and you're not. Just so
so this is a genuine rift.
No, it's not. No, he still talks to me.
Because I was like, this is our moment.
No.
Get him on the show. We'll get him on. Be the first time.
Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll
get the brothers talking again.
No, he doesn't tell me anything. But I thought he played well last week.
He did. He played really well.
I haven't said it to him directly, but I thought he played well.
Well, hopefully he's tuned into our show with no name.
He's a big fan of the show. But I thought he played well. And Para sort of, when they lost Reid Marnie, they signed Hodgson. Obviously, injuries played a part and probably missed that hooker. So, this year's a good opportunity for Joey to stand up. He's been in and out of the NRL Super League. So it's a good opportunity for him to stand up and say, I'm the Parramatta number 9 now, and I thought he did really well on the weekend.
Well, up against Mitch Kenny in this game as well too. He's got a good little match-up.
Yeah. What better way to sort of prove yourself against the Premiers? So, I wish him well. So
you kind of wish Moses wasn't coming into this game a little bit undercooked because it's, that battle of the halves in this game would have been electric at full force.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I just don't know if they'll be playing him if they thought there was a long-term risk.
But you hear the comments. So Brad Arthur said after the game, he told Moses he wasn't allowed to kick, and that was a rule. Moses kicked anyway. Yeah. And the other comment he made was, I think he was going to make more of a fanfare if I tried to drag him off, and it wasn't worth it. Is it often the dynamic where the players kind of dictating to the coach? Because I find like Brad Arthur would be like the kind of where like you're off or you're off.
Yeah, I think it depends who it is. If that was like a front rower or something like that, they'll be dragging him off. But
they'd probably be begging to go off.
Yeah, if it was you. If it was me, I would have been straight off. But obviously, Mitch, competitor, wants to win. He's putting the team over himself, and we've seen that. That time when his missus was about to have the first kid. Brad said to him, "Do you want to go home?" He said, "No way. I want to play this semi-final." So I don't know if my girlfriend will be right with that. But
so what's her birthday dinner tonight? She's having to sit through this
podcast. She loves it. She's Canadian, so she got no idea what we're talking about. But
don't think any of our listeners.
But I think that he's a competitor, and Brad just sort of let him go. But it'll be interesting this week.
All right, quick pick. Who?
I got to go Para.
Okay, you're gonna just be biased.
Who are you going?
Hard pick. I'm gonna go Para. I think they're a little bit more a little bit more spark
so I'm
about
biased, but you're not.
Well, I don't have anyone in the team that's my family member, so no. That would be a bias, would it not?
I guess so, yeah.
So I had to think.
Next question.
Third game, I think both you and I'll side up on this one. Manly Roosters, Rookie Oval, Sunday afternoon. The only dampener of it, 23 degrees and chance of showers.
Yeah. Rookie Oval, Sunday Arvo, packed crowd. There's honestly nothing better.
Yeah. But does it change much between showers and sunshine? It's not too much. I think the Manly fans, we still sort of turn up in our droves. Yeah,
everyone will turn up, but I think Manly play their best footy on a Sunday Arvo on a dry track when you got Cherry Evans, Chabojevic, sort of roaming through the middle off the fours. But JWH back for Roosters this week.
But that's kind of like your Spencer, like firepower out, him in.
But I think, look, if I was looking at the team and I seen Spencer or Jared's the one that you go on. Yeah, he's bringing it. Obviously,
former Manly player too, so it's like return.
Yeah. Obviously, he's been suspended for a few games, so he's coming back. He's going to come back with a point to prove.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Manly forwards have a big job this week.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have to contain the Roosters forwards. I thought the Roosters forwards were good. Terrell May, I thought he was really good last week. Mm-hmm. So those Manly forwards, they're going to have to, really sort of step up and put it on. They have to fight fire with fire this week to allow Cherry and Turbo to sort of play off the back of them. But I'm going to go Manly.
You better be going Manly. There's a bird gang over here. It's not the microphone out of the way. I was that excited. I think it was really interesting. I was one of the lucky ones that got over Vegas last week, and Roosters took Hargraves and also Dom Young, who's back this week as well too from a neck. So they've been in that clique the whole time. So they've gone and done the camp, they've gone and done the training, although suspension and injury and whatnot, travelled with the team and not being the fresh legs back here going, well, what about me? So I think they are exceptionally dangerous. But the game in Vegas, if you guys haven't spoken about enough on our apps, it was the boys came off, DCE, Jakey Todorovic, they said it was origin pace, origin intensity, the enclosed room, the speed, the power, the hits. Like I think there was more claret in that first 10 minutes than I've seen in a lot of Origin games. It was brutal.
Yeah, they were intense, especially for round one. But look, the Roosters players, Tedesco, Brandon Smith last year, they sort of got a lot of heat. Good players got a lot of heat. Well, are they washed up? Are they done? And then they came out and showed sort of how good they are. I thought Tedesco was really good. Smith was good out of hooker. Took a lot of tough runs. They sort of just reminded everyone that they're still here. And you look at their team on paper, they have an outstanding team. Sam Walker, he's had another couple of years sort of, he came in as an 8-year-old halfback expecting to run a Sydney Roosters team. Yeah. So he's got some more experience now. I think he's better for it. And, the outside backs like Joey Manu, like freak. So Manly, Manly need to fight fire with fire this week.
Do you think with Manly side of obviously Schuster's coming back through, had a really unlucky run, chickenpox finger, ankle, was it ankle? Was that the last one? No, calf.
Calf, yeah.
Benny Todorovic had a belter game and was so on sync with the rest of the team out there. It's going to have a hard task getting back into that side.
Yeah, he will. He's just like his brothers, like he's like Jake, tough.
Yeah.
All for the team, just no nonsense, just does his job. But he's fitted in really well there. Everyone obviously loves him because after he scored the try, everyone's jumping around him and stuff like that. So, Schuster's definitely has his work cut out for him. But I think Benny's earned the spot. Yeah, his trial form was good. I think it's his to lose now.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an exciting game. That is the second game on Sunday. I think it's 4:05 on Sunday afternoon. We're both on Manly for that. Darcy, I promise next time I'll let you ask the questions.
I might ask you some questions next week.
Oh, yeah.
Get you sweating.
Well, you'll have to actually do some work.
Well, actually,
it'll just be, hey, Garts, how are you? So I'm ready. Come at me with your paper and your crayons. No,
spelling mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for joining us, Darcy. If you want to go in more depth in the previews, Big Les, Ace the Mace, and Darcy have thrown out all their stats, figures, and everything else in between on the Scrum, which is on another one of our amazing podcasts. But this is currently the show with no name. Darcy and Garts, thanks for joining us.